Okay, this tutorial is for lesson 18A, and as you can see, I've kind of already started with the rectangle here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through this very quickly and draw it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to explode this rectangle to help me out a little bit. Click on explode, and now I'm going to use offset to help me find the centers of these circles. So offset 1.75. I'm going to offset this line over this way. Hit enter to get back into offset, and it looks like I'm going to come down 1.25. Enter. And so that guy, oops, I got to go into 1.25, and that will help me to create the center of that guy. And then it looks like I need to offset down again 2.053 according to the book. And you should be able to find this lesson on the shared folder under lessons. It will be there. And so these have a diameter of 1.5. Make sure you put in the correct diameter and not accidentally put in the radius. And then, of course, I'm just going to copy this from here so I don't have to redo it. So there's pretty much my drawing right there. And I'm going to let you guys dimension it. But I am going to do one more thing. I'm going to go to center line, and I'm going to click on my center layers, or my center mark button, sorry. Click here, and hit enter, and click here. And so now I've got my center marks, and I should be able to dimension that very easily. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw this circle, or the one to the right. So I'm going to start out with a circle, and the dimension of this circle looks like it is 5 inches. So D enter, 5 enter. And of course I should be drawing on the correct layer. And what I might do is I might draw a line from here to here and highlight this circle and move this circle, snap that to that line right there. And then that will allow me to go ahead and draw my polygon. Looks like my polygon is 8 sides. So 8 enter. It looks like I know the center of my polygon, and it looks like this is going to be a side polygon because it snaps out here to the side. So it's going to look like that. And it looks like I need some center line, so I'm going to go to my center line layer, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on those. So that's taken care of. Go back to my object layer to be able to start drawing some circles. And one thing I need to do, it looks like, is use the offset tool. So I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm just going to draw some more center lines because it might make my life easier. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple circles. And these are 1 inch in diameter. So D enter, 1 enter. And I can copy this a bunch of times, which will save me a lot of time. So these go to every point, looks like I'm around the edge. That makes life easier. Now I can turn on my centerline layer, click on center mark, and just keep hitting enter and click on every single one of these. And this should make my life a lot easier than drawing them manually like we used to do. Okay, so there they have all their center lines, and those are good to go. Now we just need to make sure that we offset some lines so we can draw the inside circle. So I'm going to use offset. Looks like we have some pretty interesting numbers. 1.464. It goes down from this direction. So there we go that way. And it looks like it goes then down 2.071 from there. Okay. And then they look like they go over 1.464. From this direction over here. Oops. That would not be right. Okay, so this should help give me at least a center mark. I'm going to hit my offset button. This should help me at least give a point where each of these things belong. Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to do a little bit of copy. Okay, so those would look something like that. And I'm actually going to get rid of these so I don't have any double lines here. And then I will come back and I will use the center mark button to put in proper center marks to each of those. So that is what that should look like, more or less. And then from there on out, you guys should be able to dimension that without much issue. Okay. Go ahead. Next to that, you're not going to do 18B, but you are going to do 18C. So I'm going to go ahead and go over 18C right now. And this one is just drawing things angular. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my object layer on, start with a line, and turn ortho on and draw it over 2. And then it looks like I need to go up at a 43-degree angle. The only problem is I don't exactly know how far over that is. I do know that this would go over another 3 inches and then up a certain distance. Looks like the total height is 4.75. So I might actually just start out with a box. It might make my life a little bit easier. So I go over 5 and come down. So I have a box here, but this line, luckily for me, is divided up into 2 separate pieces. So what I can do is I can turn ortho off and I can start a new line. I'm actually not going to need this line here, but I can start a new line, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to draw this line really long, and I'm going to make sure that relative is on. And I can tell relative is on because I have an angle down here on the bottom. So when I click on line and I start my line here, I can tell relative is on because I have an angle symbol right there. If you do not have an angle symbol right there, you need to right click and make sure you turn relative on. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to click on line, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to draw this line longer than I need to because I can always use the trim command. I'm going to draw it, use the at symbol, so shift and the number 2, and I'm going to draw it 5 inches long, and then I'm going to put in the angle of 43 degrees. 43, because remember, it's starting at 0, 0's over here, and I need to go up 43 degrees according to the drawing. So at 5, angle 43 degrees, and hit enter. Okay, and then I can trim this guy off, and I can trim that guy off right there. And one thing you may want to make sure of before you continue on is make sure that that angle is 43 degrees. And you can use the angular dimension toolbar to check that out. And of course it is 43, so I am good to go. Okay? So knowing that, you should be able to pretty much finish that drawing. I just want to make sure that you're clear on how to make that 43 degrees. Okay? So the next one might be, this guy goes, it looks like it goes up 2 inches. I might draw this line up 2 inches from this side. And then it's going to go in a certain distance. It looks like it goes in 1 inch. And then it looks like it needs to come down. I'm going to turn ortho off. I need to come down 30 degrees from right there. Okay? But remember, if I'm starting over here, it's 180 plus another 30, so I need to do 210. So I'm just going to draw a line that's, say, 3 inches. So at 3, and then angle of 210 degrees. Enter. And then, of course, I can trim this guy off, and I can trim this guy off, and it would look something like that. I can use angular to double check. If you guys are not sure where I'm getting these numbers from, remember there is a polar clock. And what the polar clock means is if I start a line here, this is 0 degrees, and it goes 1, 2, 15, 30, to 90, which would be here, to 180, which would be over here, to 270, which would be over here, and then to back to 0 or 360, which would be over here. So I think you can finish the rest. And for lesson 18, you guys are responsible for 18A as well as 18C. And if you struggle with 18C, there is one called 18C Helper, and it will allow you or help you to draw lesson 18C. Okay, we'll see you in the next tutorial.